Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Calling the Audible podcast. We are live in the Sportier Cage, somewhere in Anjou. Joining me, looking spiffy this week, GM.
I hate this already.
GM, of course, wearing his Falcons gear that I provided to him.
Say hi to mom and dad.
For having lost last week's Eagle thing. Still get a chance to redeem himself this week, though. So we'll get there in a bit. And, of course, our producer, Eagle, is here. Doing car-related things. And GM, of course, still recovering, I guess, from the double whammy of losing both Eagle Thinks and your Seahawks losing to my Falcons.
One was definitely a lot worse than the other.
Of course.
It would have been great if the Hawks won, but I came here in Falcons gear anyways.
There was only room for one bird in the nest.
Hey, there we go. But that being said, one thing I'm sure would that softened the blow, if you will, was going 3-0 this week in FPF. And one such game, of course.
You were there
Division
for 2 of
3.
them, actually.
I was there for 2 of them. The one I wasn't there for was Wolfpack. And your top sauce taking it to Wolfpack by a score of, what I have here, 22-18. If you could kind of walk us through how the game went down.
It was honestly, Top Sauce got going right out of the gate. Chevalier, Jean-Daniel Chevalier, couldn't remember his full name there, was missing, so we were a little bit short on offense. 14-0 for Top Sauce. And then, honestly, Wolfpack are a strong team. They rallied back. A couple of interceptions thrown by Vince Nardone. Tied up the game and then continued on. Wolfpack were trailing and had the ball 1st and 1 with 4 plays left, and Top Sauce just managed to hold on.
So, going based off of that, what I have here is that Wolfpack scored 42 total points in 2 games so far this season, which really is what some teams scored in 1 game. Is this early on, would you say this is a matter really of their offense struggling? Is it just great defense that they're playing against?
The opponents they faced, for sure. The loss of JD Chevalier to Top Sauce, ironically, has been a difficult one for them. Replacements with Corey Greenaway and Thomas Chaussee have been solid so far. Chaussee picked off Nardone, as did Greenaway.
Right. So then, I mean, do you see this being kind of how Wolfpack season is going to be going? They're going to need some really big defensive stops to kind of get some W's, or at some point is the offense going to start clicking in your opinion?
I think that's really it. Wolfpack have always been an offensive team. It's gotten them through a lot of seasons in Division 2, now in Division 3 as well. I think that once it does start clicking, and I don't even think that it hasn't necessarily. I think it's just been the depth of talent in Division 3 so far.
Right.
I think that they will get going and they will be strong. They were in my preseason top 10 after all.
Right, that's true. And on the other side, I mean, listen, I don't want to go into too much detail, if you will, about your own team, but Vince Nardone here, 4 TDs, 3 INTs, a week after going 6-0 in that ratio, if you will. Is this another kind of Vince start to the season? He had earlier struggles. I think it was at some point last year, where he had like this mid-season lull where he just wasn't hitting receivers, where he was kind of making some mistakes. Was this that kind of game, or was it just some great defensive plays?
Again, I think it comes down to the solid defensive play of Wolfpack. I mean, Francis Lapointe is one of the strongest football athletes in Quebec. Corey Greenaway, I think just the depth that Wolfpack had and were able to match up with Top Sauce contributed to that.
So, I mean, I think I know the answer, but I would say that you're not at all concerned about Vince going forward here.
Not at all.
One quarterback that I personally
is that it for Top Sauce for the year?
That's it for, well, I don't know about for the year, but for probably a little while.
Okay.
Speaking of quarterbacks that I personally was slightly a bit concerned of heading into the season, and perhaps justified. Listen, it's still early on. It's only 1 game. Talking here about Dad Bod Squad beating Les Eudistes by a score of just 20-14. My sources tell me, what I have here, is that this was really a game that essentially you had Dad Bod Squad, QB Sean Evram doing a lot of short passes, marching the field, and converting on down in the red zone. And on the flip side, Les Eudistes just unable to convert. All but 1, I think, is what it was, 4th down. Did this game go down the way that you expected it to?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're going into this season thinking that Dad Bod Squad are going to be the exact same as GNR because of the core and the players on there, and it's not exactly the same. And I think that that's what's lulling people into that sort of trap. Sean Avram is a very, very different quarterback than Vinny Golano. He's much more patient with what the defense gives to him. It's a slow, methodical offense compared to Vinny's sort of run and gun.
Yeah, there's no scramble in his play per se.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So
Right.
Sean's been in the league long enough to know what works and what doesn't, and especially what works for him. And they're 2-0 so far. So
Right. So, see, I mean, what I calculated very quickly here, I compared the winter 2016 season when Sean started the first 3 games, right? What I have here is, with Averman at quarterback, 24.7 points per game over that 3-game span. With Vinny in for 7 games, the remaining 7, I didn't include the playoffs here, 40.1 points per game. That is that to you like it's just a fluke? It's just
no, it's not a fluke at all. It ties into that very, very different offense. If Sean's gonna take his time and march down the field, it's conceivable also that they're gonna put up less points.
Right.
Of those 3 wins, of those 3 games, even though they were low scoring, I would gather that at least 2 or even 3 of them would have been wins in the first place.
Right.
So
right.
I wouldn't be concerned. I mean, if you're winning, whether you're winning by 1 or you're winning by 20,
no, for sure.
In the words of
for sure.
Vin Diesel, winning's winning.
For sure, but it's more a matter of listen. I mean, you can't defensively. You can't take anything away from that Bod squad. They have an amazing defense. It's an amazing core. The guys know each other, especially defense. It's all about communication, about knowing your role, and they have that down pat. That's without a doubt.
So then, in that case, just to cut you off, wouldn't you want a quarterback who slows down the pace of the game?
No,
keeps the other
definitely.
offense
Yeah,
off the
no, I
field?
mean, yeah, I totally get that. I mean, but at the same time, I guess I don't know. There's just something that puts fear in defenses when you have a guy like Vinny who can just. I mean, because his style, I mean, from what I've seen, is not necessarily quick strike either. It's also kind of a methodical pace, but it's a bit more quicker, if you will. I mean, he's still going down the field a few yards at a time, but he's hitting his receivers left and right without really much struggle.
I absolutely agree with you, but I don't know why this is an argument considering Vinny's not able to throw.
Naturally,
so
for sure.
they're making the best of the situation they have, and they're doing a great job of it.
For sure. That's a fair point. On the flip side, one who's not doing a good job of really anything is Eudistes here, who went back to Hugo Anderson for this week. Hugo going 16 of 28 for 85 yards, 2 TDs, 2 INTs. Of course, a chunk of those yards are off because he got sacked 4 times. Listen, they went back to Hugo this week. The result was pretty much the same as last week. Should they keep going with Hugo does it even matter who the quarterback is at this point?
We touched on whether they're playing just to have fun and let loose or if they're actually playing competitively. I think just because Hugo Henderson was back at QB and they lost doesn't mean it's necessarily time to pull him. They played, in my opinion, the top team in Division 3, and it was a 6-point game, so not really cause for concern. I would keep, if it were me and I were the captain of the Eudistes, it would be Hugo Henderson going forward. I would want the strongest players in their natural positions.
Right. So then, I mean, we're just kind of spitballing here. Why do you think then that they decided to go away from him for the first week? Maybe just
honestly, if my guess is fun.
Yeah.
I think they were just messing around.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the last game here on our docket, Brotherhood taking it to Prestige Worldwide, 46 to 25. This is a game that I score kept. And listen, on the score sheet in the box score, it shows a close game in the first half. I think it was 21-13 at halftime. It did not feel that way though at all. The athleticism of Brotherhood was just really too much for Prestige to handle, I think, and that really showed in the second half. That's it, 21-13 first half, 25-12 in the second half. With receiver Kevin Kaya, 5 receptions, 67 yards, 3 TDs. The kid just went ham. Mm-hmm. And, Prestige Rod, they didn't really have an answer for him at all. At this point, 0-2 for Prestige, a big loss like this, where do they go from here? This isn't a position that they're really not comfortable with, that they really know necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. It's not something that they're used to. I would say it once again comes down to sort of that lack of depth. They were missing guys week 1. It looks like they were missing some of those same guys week 2. We haven't seen a full Prestige Worldwide roster yet. That being said, you can only give excuses for why they're doing poorly for so long. I still think the talent is there and they're solid, but just like Les Eudistes, who played a top team in Dadbod squad, they played a top team as well in the Brotherhood, who were no slouch. They're difficult for any team in Division 3 with a full roster. Yeah, no, that's a fair point there. And very quickly here, sticking with Brotherhood here. Listen, it's only 2 games for sure, but 44-13, 46-25.
Can anyone realistically stop the Brotherhood at this point?
They went 9-1 last year. They're a perfect fit for Division 3, but they're definitely at the top of Division 3. If there's a team that comes close, it's going to be a really, really close game, and it's going to be like one or two teams.
Is there a team off the top of your head that thinks, you know what? Yeah, this team, I see them taking Brotherhood down to the wire.
What are the remaining 8?
They have the Heismans, Lightweight, Jonesers, Show Me Your TDs, Les Mr. Shah, 8 Boys 1 Cup, Laval's Finest, and Wolfpack.
No.
That's the answer.
No.
That's it right there. Yeah.
Does anyone have nicer jerseys than them?
No.
That's also it.
Courtesy of Sportira, by the way.
Yeah, Sportira. I don't know. What slogan do you make? If it's in the game, it's in the cage?
If it's in the cage, it's in the game.
What he said, that. And that's, I guess, a good time then to move on to our next segment here. GM's chance to redeem himself. We're moving on to Eagle Thinks, Week 2 edition. So, Eagle.
Hi.
Here is the question, all right?
Do we explain the rules again?
All right, listen, very
Thank you for queuing that up.
You're welcome.
very quickly here. It's just essentially Jim and I are going to bet on what we think Eagle's answer to a question is. Eagle's answer doesn't necessarily have to be correct, but we have to try to guess Eagle's answer here.
The best way to pass an exam.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, of the 26 teams in Division 3, how many do you think are still winless at this point in the season?
Ooh, out of 26?
Or 26 of them. So, get your answer. Keep it in your head.
26. Okay.
Eagle calculating some math here in his head. You got an answer?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
You've got your answer. In
I
your
have
head.
my
Okay,
answer,
perfect.
yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna start the betting here. I'm gonna go with 3 and up.
Okay. I'm going to raise you to 7 and up.
Man. I'm gonna go to 8 and up.
Okay. I'll go to 9 and up.
I'm going to 10.
Bowing out.
All right. So here it is. If Eagle's answer is 10 and up, I win. If it's 9 or lower, GM's got this.
10 or more teams that are 0-2 or have no wins, pretty much?
Yeah.
Correct. I went with 4.
Jesus. Christ. All right. We're all knotted up here at 1 and 1. I thought, I went the reverse psychology because last week, Eagle was all, if we're talking about it, it should be a high number, right? But no, he went back.
No, that's what I said.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So I thought this time for sure he'd do it. I failed miserably. The answer is 8.
Wow, I did not expect that
8
at all,
teams.
actually.
And
So what's interesting about that is both weeks in the row, the loser has given Eagle too much credit.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're gonna start giving you way less credit. I think moving forward here, Eagle.
What do you want from me?
Yeah, nothing. You're done. You're done for the night now. So that's it. Listen, 8 teams at 0-2 still. Those being the Heismans, Jonesers, Prestige Worldwide, Les Mr. Shah, BD Bandits, Les Eudistes, OTF, and Libares.
Are any of those ties or they're just pure not wins?
0-2. 0-2, baby, all the way.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's surprising, honestly. I expected more parity in Division 3, to be honest.
well,
I
listen,
think there will be.
There's still time, right? There's still time to get that parity. But at this point in the season, listen, these are the teams struggling the most. And I guess what we'll do here is kind of kick off a quick conversation. We'll go with the classic sandwich style here. So, GM, I want you to give me, of those teams, the one that you think has the best chance of turning things around.
So, at least for right now, I've pretty much driven this point home, but I'll say it again, Prestige Worldwide. They have 2 Hall of Famers on this team. They have a prolific offense. They're former Division 3 champions. There's no reason why Prestige Worldwide should be in this mess to begin with, and conceivably, they're now the best winless team as of me.
Right. So you on it? You still have faith in this team?
Of the list here, there's no doubt in my mind. Not only will Prestige Worldwide be one of the stronger teams, I think that they could beat the rest of the winless teams.
Okay. All right. We'll see. We'll see how that goes down.
We will, because it will be immediate.
That's true. Yeah. Aren't they playing? Who do they have this week? I didn't check. I'll check in a second. Yeah. Listen. If I'm being honest, that's honestly probably the team that I also have at the top of my list of teams I think have the best chance, just because of, this is a veteran team. These are veteran guys. They have the players there to make plays. they're just not there yet. I don't think it's a lack of talent per se.
Along the similar subject, since I already brought up Prestige Worldwide, and I know you're agreeing with me, so there's also BD Bandits.
Right.
Similar situation, strong core, same group of guys. They've been successful in the past, and they just aren't now because of the matchup they've had after 2 weeks.
Yeah. So thanks for kind of killing that. The sandwich thing I got going on. That was my last team. Don't worry about it. It's okay. We'll come back to it.
It's an open face sandwich.
Of course. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. So we'll move then to my worst team. So the team I think has the worst chance of turning things around. To me, it's the Heisman. The Heismans, rather. Excuse me. And listen, through 2 games, they have a Division III lowest 18 points scored. They have the worst plus minus. And I think for me, really, the big reason here is because it seems to me anyway, it's especially on quarterback play. Okay? Quarterback here, Gordon Stanway just has not been able to really move the ball to do anything really on the field. 2 TDs, 6 INTs so far. And without a solid quarterback, you just can't do anything in this league. I don't know what you think really of the Heisman's chances going forward here.
I do agree with that. I think that they definitely have the depth, though. They might call someone in if this continues to be the case. We've seen this core with different quarterbacks, Scott Kelly, Nathan Taylor. I think that they have the ability to find guys to come in if necessary. But
As it stands right now,
Gordon Stanway has been around the block too, so he knows.
He's a solid athlete. He's made plays, offense, defense, as receiver, DB. But
as I mentioned, also in the same thing as Les Eudistes, where you put the players where they will have the most impact. I think that Stanway's biggest impact would be at receiver, not at quarterback.
Yeah, definitely. Your worst team here in this case.
Along that same line, to do with quarterbacks and the structure of the team is Jonesers. Ryan Lelinowski, another solid receiver, game-breaking talent, but the higher up you go in the divisions, the sort of run-and-gun mobile quarterback works less and less and less as the defenses get stronger and as the rushers get stronger. It becomes harder and harder to sustain. So I think that at this point, the Jonesers have been figured out.
Okay, that's a fair point. I guess the only reason I put them, a notch higher is just because I know what the talent their team can do.
Yeah.
Listen, Ryan, he's been QB a few seasons now at least, right? So, he's been around the block. Listen, I'm looking back, 2013, 39 TDs, 59 Ts.
Division 4.
Granted, but the fact remains he's so proven that he can still throw the ball when necessary. He can still make plays. 36 TDs, 10 INTs winter 2014, and 36 and 14 in winter 2016. So, there's still a sign there that they can score points, first of all, which is, of course, the most important thing. And listen, when you have guys like Dave Chidiat, Jeff Rosenblatt, he can make plays too. He's not, the biggest deep threat, but, he'll catch your pass.
He's got those secure hands.
Exactly. That's important to have, So you have guys like that on your team, I will always really kind of give you a chance going forward. And, the last team here, thank you for mentioning them earlier, BD Bandits. But I'll drop some stats here real quick. So BD Bandits, amongst the 8 teams that we listed out 0-2, 51 points, 4. So 51 points scored in those 2 games. And listen, I'm harping on the offense a lot, but if you show that you can score points, that's the first step towards winning a game in FPF. And what that shows to me is it's really more on the defensive side of the ball that they're struggling, and that can be fixed. Communication, making sure that guys are in the right position where they are. That's really just doing that automatically makes your defense improve. If you don't talk on defense, if you don't mix things up, you don't do anything, there's really no hope for you. At that point, unless you're crazy athletes who can just go man the whole game
Bandits or psychic.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eagle.
And BD Bandits were a team that were always lauded for their sort of strong defensive play. They were always one of the standouts. So it's weird to see them in this situation.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. At the same time, listen, it's true that the first game that they had was against Brocasian, which I had ranked relatively high on my own in my own top 10. So, that's an understandable loss, if you will. And then
especially in Division 3 now, none of these games are gimmies anymore.
Yeah, so no, really, you have to ball out. And the second one obviously was a 32-24 loss to Coyotes, who are surging here
with a newly acquired Sean Steen, by the way.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, we'll touch upon Coyotes a bit more next week. But
teams are adapting.
Yeah, it's really it's Pease loves to talk about it, but if you just stick with your same guys and you don't improve as a core, if you don't bring in new guys, the league is going to kind of bypass you a little bit. I mean, it's rough here for BD Bandits, but I'm still holding out hope that they'll be able to turn things around. The other teams that we didn't really touch upon, Les Messieurs, les Eudistes, OTF, Les Buddies. I don't know if you have any thoughts about those 0-2 teams going forward.
Off the top of my head, I think that Les Buddies also have a lot of potential to sort of right the ship. Leon Holder, once he starts to get comfortable with this core, who he's just kind of been thrust into, I think that's going to be when we start talking about Les Buddies in a positive again. It's that same core. They're a championship team. Leon Holder can do it once again. He's a championship quarterback. You have a Div 3 championship team and a Div 3 championship quarterback. As I talk about this more, I wonder why I didn't pick them instead of Prestige Worldwide, especially considering I've looked silly with Prestige Worldwide for 2 weeks in a row. And as I talk more about this, Les Buddies, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm switching my pick.
I mean, to kind of piggyback on that, listen, we just played them at 6+R, and of course, the final score was 42-12. What that doesn't show was that they dropped 2 wide open touchdowns. I'm telling you, no one in near the vicinity of the receiver, and you can tell I think it's really just a matter of comfort right now for Leon. At a certain point, he's saying, "Hey, center, do this." He doesn't even know the names of the players he's throwing to yet, So, and I think it's gonna take a bit of time before they really start to get into kind of a groove offensively.
And knowing Leon personally and having played and won with him is that when Leon's on, he's on.
Oh yeah.
But when he's off, you need something to sort of like get him back into the game and build his confidence. Otherwise, you'll see like there have been like you've seen when it's been with Blazers or Red Raiders. He'll walk off the field, he gets into a slump, and then it's over. If Leon starts hot, he'll lead you throughout that game and carry that team to a win. But if he doesn't, it's over. And there's no middle ground.
Having played with some of the Buddies players, I know they're really tight group and everything. They're a lot of friends. They all live near each other. So, bringing someone new in completely that they don't know to kind of take over is a major change to their entire system and everything. So I think that's going to take a little bit of time to adapt to. Even though, a pickup game you go play with someone else, we're talking about FPF Div 3. It's not a pickup game.
Yeah, for sure.
So I can see them righting the ship. The only problem is I don't know if it'll be in time and if that'll be enough to make playoffs.
Yeah.
Because as it stands, the tough thing is that early season games are often divisional games as well. So that becomes a factor as well into playoff eligibility.
Exhibition game during bye week?
Food for thought.
Yeah, very true. I guess.
But at the same time, like no one wants to play during the Super Bowl bye week, just like no one wants to see someone else get married during the Super Bowl bye week. He's not even listening.
And moving on. We'll move on very quickly then to our picks of the week. So I think this week games that have a bit more controversial element, if you will, than last week, which were all pretty much. I mean, it's just straight agreement the whole way through. The first one here: Show Me Your TDs versus Darksiders. What's your pick and why?
Right now, my pick is Darksiders. If you asked me last week or the week before, it would have been Show Me Your TDs. But as Darksiders start to have a full roster and begin firing on all cylinders, I think it's going to be a difficult game to manage. Adding Jamil Springer into the mix, where Fred Morissette already flourished, being able to throw to James Floriani and connect and rebuild that relationship, it's going to be very, very difficult for the Show Me Your TDs defenders to sort of match up, especially considering Fred knows a lot of that core.
Yes.
And he knows what to do and how to exploit.
On the flip side, though, speaking of knowing the core, listen, there's a lot of familiarity on both sides, right? So just very quickly, players that have played on either team, Mike Adana, right? Obviously the quarterback for Show Me Your TDs, who subbed in a few games for Darksiders last season.
As quarterback, too.
Yeah, exactly. Anthony Adana also for a game or two. Eric Quentin, who was a full-time defender. Julien Bellavance. Right, so all of these guys, part of the Show Me Your TDs group right now, who've played on Darksiders, who know this team very well, and I think that's why I'm going to go with Show Me Your TDs here.
Okay, but my counterpoint to your counterpoint is, if you know what they're going to send your way, and I know what they're going to send,
because here's why.
The athletic depth on Darksiders.
But here's why. Having played with Fred Morissette, Fred's the kind of QB he has his set plays, and that's what he's going to run. Those plays are what he's going to run. So if you as a defense know what's coming, you're set. I'd be very surprised to see Fred Morissette. Listen, I played with him a few seasons. I don't know the last time he had a new play into his playbook. So with guys like Julien Bellavance, who's played with Fred Morissette, who knows his playbook in and out, offense, and he's a freak of a defender on the other side of the ball, I'm expecting a few picks from him, definitely. So, all it really takes is just Mike to move the ball, and that's it. I think Show Me TDs has a good chance here.
Inside scoop on Show Me Your TDs. I spoke to Mike Adana after his last game. He did not have a good outing. I think threw about 3 or 4 interceptions, might be 2. He told me specifically about 2 of them. Brand new ball slipped out of his hands, so
excuses, Mike.
He's rubbing it in the dirt to try and get some more grip on it.
Excuses. Come on, come
Wait,
ball
wouldn't rubbing
out.
it in the dirt give it less grip?
These are things that. Well,
Details.
I was gonna ask a quarterback, but there is none here among us.
In my line of sight right now is Justin, Terry, and Simon.
Yeah.
So there's no quarterbacks.
0
around here.
quarterbacks here. So but on the subject of very good quarterbacks, Coyotes taking on Brocasian.
This could be game of the week.
I honestly think this is going to be an amazing game. On one side you have Josh Feeder, division leading 7 receiving TDs. On the other side, Brocasian. If Marco comes to play, this is going to be one hell of a battle.
Repeat of the final.
Yeah, I mean it's very possible, right? So I mean, who do you have here? Who are you taking and why?
I honestly like Brocasian for this one. I think that Marco's been that added depth that they've needed. It gives another target to that already prolific offense. Like it now becomes a pick your poison of who do you cover and who do you leave uncovered. And I think that the size, the speed is going to be a little bit much for Coyotes to handle.
Yeah, I mean that's a really fair point. I guess if I throw a counterpoint the other way,
Sean Steen.
Yes, that's an obvious one. But listen, against a guy like Christian Charantola, you have to have a really good rusher who can really stick with them. And I think they have that guy in AJ Rashkovan, right, who has really kind of proven in the past. I think he has a few here. Listen, 15 sack season, 13 sack season. He can get the quarterback. And that's a really important thing here.
I do like that. I do
Christian.
agree. But I think that not only is he a solid rusher, he has the defense around him. But this isn't an offense that Coyotes are used to now that Marco's in that mix. Now that Christian has a wealth of targets, so it's not just stop Christian from running, which used to be the modus operandi. Now it's do we stop him from running? Yeah. He can throw on the run too. Now he has players who will make those plays. Kyle Lubovsky, Justin Sarantola. This team has been getting stronger and stronger every season, and there's a reason they're in Division 3 now.
Yeah, no. To be honest, I'm totally agreeing with you. I'm going Brocasian here, but just had to give Coyotes a little bit of a shout out. And the last game on our docket here,
we're gonna look really silly if we're wrong too.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I'll remind you next week.
Thanks, Eagle.
Thank you.
Lightweight taking on Mongoose. Simo, you planning on having a good game this weekend for lightweight or what? You gonna have a good game for lightweight? All right, that's a head shake. I'm taking Mongoose.
Can I choose lightweight without Simon Dagenet?
I mean,
I really like what that defense has to offer and their depth at receiving. It's just it's hard with who they have the ball throwing them.
Who are you? Lightweight talking about?
Yeah, lightweight.
Yeah, definitely.
I really, really like that core, though. I think that it's a team that has potential to fly under the radar because of their defense, and especially because a lot of people are going to dismiss them just because Simon was throwing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Listen, lightweights. This is a solid group. This is a solid team. It's just really a matter of if Simon wants to play ball properly or not. Yeah. He's coming off a really good game, 37-6 to beat the Heismans. So I'm expecting him to crash and burn completely this week. So I'm sticking with Mongoose.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
My goose.
Yeah. So, moving on then, final thoughts, GM, what do you got?
I can't wait for us to cut this. Like, the second we cut this shirt's coming off.
Nah, man, I'm telling you, you look good in that shade of red. It's close to the still teamless jerseys, you don't think? It's,
Should we get a picture for the FPF wall just to commemorate this moment?
I love this. Look, man, we're Falcons buddies right now, bro. This is great. This is
On that note, go Pack, go.
Very quickly, last thing, calling out this week, Saad Bajid for dropping a wide open touchdown in the end zone. Bro, where are the hands, man? That's it. That's all I got to say. That's it. See you guys next week.